Welcome back. The news in full. Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development and the Minister of Industry, Kamil Al-Wazir, the Minister of Electricity and Renewable Resources, Mahmoud Asmat, and the French Ministry of Economy, Finance and Industry Digital Sovereignty witnessed the signing of the cooperation agreement for financing, developing and constructing and operating an integrated station for producing the green hydrogen and its derivatives. The project aims at producing 1 million tons of green ammonia on the 3 stages in 2029. It enhances the state's ambition to provide the clean fuel for ships that can be also exported to international markets. The agreement boosts Egypt's position in the field of renewable energy projects and deepens its efforts in the transformation towards the green economy. The project also is considered one of the rare initiatives to be integrated totally by the private sector through a coalition of companies. The total investment cost of the 3 stages reaches 7 billion euros for 1 million ton a year. 368 square kilometers were allocated to implement the 3 stages project to generate the solar and the wind energy. And Egypt stock market indices collectively went up in the trading session on Tuesday after high rate of profit-making purchases by Arab and foreign investors. The benchmark AGX 30 index rose 0.64% to close at 1,648 points, and EGX 70 index for small and medium enterprises businesses also gained 1.77% to reach 8,871 points, and the broader EGX 100 index added 1.55% to close at 12,188 points. So the market capitalization gained 20 billion pounds to close at 2 trillion and 183 billion pounds amid transaction of about 260.5 billion pounds. And the stock market regained some ground on Tuesday, even as trade tensions between the United States and China escalated sharply after days of turmoil over U.S. President Donald Trump tariffs offensive. The Wall Street stocks surged at the open, with the Standard & Poor's 500 adding 3.7%. In morning trading, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rising 3.6%, and the Nasdaq Composite being 1% higher. Europe's main stock markets were up around 3% in afternoon trade, while Asia's leading indices also rose after suffering particularly heavy falls. In Asia, stock indexes railed 6% in Tokyo and 1.6% in Shanghai, while in Europe 3.5% in Paris. And the U.S. dollar fell on Tuesday, while the euro railed as the stocks rebounded in Asia and Europe on hopes that U.S. President Donald Trump will enter negotiations over his sweeping tariffs that have roiled markets for 3 days. The dollar was last down 0.4% against the Japanese yen at 147.28 yen to the dollar. The euro was last up 0.3% down from an earlier rise of more than 0.7% after falling for the 2 previous days. The pound added 0.2% and the Australian dollar was 1.1 higher after both dropped in the previous 2 sessions. And in the meantime, British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves said on Tuesday that she would meet the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent shortly as part of the border talks over a new economic partnership that London hopes will reduce its tariff levy. Details follow.
British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves said on Tuesday she would meet U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent shortly as part of the broader talks over a new economic partnership that London hopes will reduce its tariff levy. Reeves, speaking to Parliament as global markets stabilized following days of turmoil, said the government was seeking to build stronger trade ties with the U.S. while also providing stability for families, businesses and investors at home. U.S. President Donald Trump imposed a 10% tariff on most imports from Britain and a 25% tariff on key sectors such as cars and steel. Trump's global tariff program has sent shock waves through financial markets, but Reeves said Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey had confirmed that markets were functioning effectively and that banks remained resilient. On Monday, British 30-year borrowing costs rose by the most in a single day since October 2022, when the US suffering in the aftermath of then Prime Minister Liz Truss's mini-budget. Trump's announcement of tariffs last week has also prompted governments around the world to seek closer trading ties with other partners to help protect their industries. Reeves said she had in recent days spoken to her counterparts in Canada, Australia, Ireland, France, Spain, and to the European Commission. She is also due to meet India's finance minister this week to discuss their trade deal talks. She is due to travel to Washington later this month for a gathering of top finance officials from around the world at the International Monetary Fund and World Bank, when Bessent is expected to meet some of his counterparts.
And to Germany, where the German economic institutes have cut their forecast for the year to 0.1% growth from the 0.8% growth expected in September for 2026. The institutes forecast economic growth of just above 0.1% without giving an exact number. The previous forecast for next year was 0.8%. The new forecast includes the US tariff of the 25% on EU aluminium, steel and cars, but not for the tariff increases of 20% on other goods announced last Wednesday.